Hi, Nathan here from the Pop Revolution, and in this video I'll be showing you how to create a lead sheet in Finale. Lead sheets are super useful for a number of different scenarios. I use them pretty regularly as a church musician and with my own band. A lead sheet gives you a melody line for either a vocalist or instrumentalist and includes chord changes. Singers, guitarists, bassists, keyboard players, and even drummers can use a lead sheet. Fortunately, creating a lead sheet in Finale is very simple. So for this lead sheet, I'll go ahead and create a Finale document with just one treble clef stave and also guitar tab. I'll explain why a little bit later, but if you're following along, you probably won't need to include guitar tab. You can use a default document or you can create your own custom project. But most likely, all you'll need to do is just have one treble clef stave. Naturally, the first thing to do is enter your melody. You can check out two of my other videos where I go through two different ways to enter notes here and here. Both of these solutions are very fast and effective, so I'll go ahead and enter my notes now. Now that I've entered my notes, since my lead sheet is for a vocal melody, I'll enter my lyrics using the type in score function with the lyric tool. Now that I'm done with my lyrics, I want to start adding my chord changes. I'll go to the Chord Tool, and this is where I'll be able to manually type in the chord symbols. You can choose what you want your symbols to look like by going to the top tab to the chord bar and scroll down to Chord Style. From here, you can select what style you want to use. The Roman style, for example, will transform whatever chord you use into Roman numerals, using Roman numeral analysis. And other styles will modify in different ways. But for me, I'll just stick with the standard style. If you would like a guitar fretboard to appear with your chord symbols, you can go back to the Chord tab at the top of the window and click on Show Fretboards. And now, whenever I type a chord in, the guitar fretboard will also appear. I personally don't like this so much since it takes up quite a bit of space, so I'll deselect it for now. If you type in a chord that Finale is unfamiliar with, you can simply add the chord suffix to the document by typing in whatever the chord is. So say I wanted to write a G no third. Finale doesn't recognize this chord suffix, but I can tell it to add the suffix for later use. When I type in the chord symbols over a measure that has no notes, it'll automatically only allow you to move by quarter notes. So if you want smaller values, such as an offbeat eighth note with chord changes, then add an eighth note rest in the measure where you want that to occur. For me, what I'll actually do is input a note where I want that offbeat change to go. Just to show you how I do this, I'll use my staff tool to change the stave type, left click the measure or control click, and go to rhythmic notation. Now, it's clearly a rhythmic gesture and Finale won't play back this note because it's simply a rhythmic marking now. This will help things be a lot more clear for your musicians. If you have a big hit, for example, this is how I'll typically notate it. For now, I'll quickly go through and add my chord symbols. Depending on how you want your lead sheet to look, this might be all you need to add. But for me, I like to include as much musical direction as possible. So if there's an intro riff, lead line, or some other instrumental part that happens when the main melody is not happening, I'll notate all of this out. For example, I have a lead line in the intro I want to notate, so my guitar player knows to play this. It repeats 3 times, twice are exactly the same, and the third repeat is when the band enters. So I'll add a repeat sign for the first 2, and the third repeat will stand alone since the band comes in there. Just another way to be more clear. If you need help with repeat signs, you can check out this video right here. I also have a few other parts throughout the song that I want to make sure my guitarist knows to play. There's a guitar solo and a few other cool riffs throughout. So I'll notate all of those parts in the treble clef. After I notate those in the treble clef, I'll copy the measures over into my tab. Tab can be a bit tricky sometimes, so copying pre-notated music from a treble clef is by far the best way to do this. It'll ask me what the lowest fret will be, and I'll have to go through individual parts of the song and copy these parts out, since I do have a specific way I want my guitarist to play throughout the entire song. I don't typically like my guitarist playing low frets on high strings, so I'll specifically tell them which fret is the lowest. You can do this however you like. Rather than leaving it as it is, I'll actually resize my notes in the treble clef, so it's obvious this is a separate melody than the main melody. I'll use the resize tool to do this. Once I've selected the tool, whatever I click, I can change its size. This can be the entire measure or individual notes. For my purposes, I just need to resize the notes, so I'll click on them and change them to 75%. You can make them smaller or bigger if you want, but I personally like how 75% looks the best. It's noticeably small, but not too small. I'll also quickly add rehearsal markings so that I always know where in the score I am when I'm playing. The last step is to format, which I go through in this video right here. I've included links in the description for all the other videos I've mentioned in this one, so do take advantage of those additional tools. There you have it. That's how I make a lead sheet in Finale. I hope this video is helpful to you. Please leave any questions or comments you have below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And of course, be sure to subscribe.